Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to a brand new edition of the Media Row podcast. I'm your host, Justin Miller. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show, as you do each and every week. If you have yet to click that subscribe button, go ahead, do that real quick. And while you're at it, leave us a rate, a comment, a like as well, wherever you are viewing or listening to today's show. And then while you're at it as well, just go ahead and follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, at Media Row Pod is where you can catch us. Twitter, always our most popular, but everywhere you can catch clips of the show as well as clips from the post-game press conferences from games we cover in person, which, speaking of, have some really exciting news for you guys because we're going to blink and it's going to be March. It's going to be conference tournament season. It's going to be NCAA tournament season. And we have some exciting news. Got the confirmation late last week. We got our credentials filled out and ready to go for St. Louis, and we will be in St. Louis. Can't be able to do any of that without your guys' support. So huge thank you to the support you guys have shown Media Row for the past year or so. Always a dream of mine. And every time I get to go to St. Louis, it feels just as special as the first time. First time I was able to go was as a student at Drake, as a student broadcaster. I was able to broadcast their first Missouri Valley Conference tournament victory with DeVries, Roman Penn, DJ Wilkins, Darnell Brody, Sardar Calhoun, Garrett Sturts, all those guys in 2023, which was fantastic. Didn't go the second year. I was covering Iowa State at the time for the radio station. So I was in Kansas City covering that Big 12 conference tournament. So wasn't able to go see that one in person. And then, of course, last year was able to go and cover it as well. But super pumped. Best time of the year. Absolutely love college basketball and absolutely love the Missouri Valley. We're going to get into it here in a little bit in today's show, talking about kind of the standings and the chaos that is happening in the Missouri Valley Conference right now. So it's shaping up to be an exciting and fun St. Louis trip this season as well. But a huge thank you to you guys for, being a part of this show and allowing me to be able to go down to St. Louis and provide some hopefully great and entertaining coverage. Also wouldn't be possible, though, without sponsors. And so a huge thank you to Kelly's Little Nipper. Jeff and the crew do a wonderful job over there at 1701 East Grand Avenue in Des Moines. You guys need to go support them as well. Great food, great drinks, and even better community over there at 1701 East Grand Avenue in Des Moines. Kelly's Little Nipper, a proud sponsor of the Media Row podcast. So we have a lot to get to today, because we will be live in person covering the Drake-Evansville game tonight at 6 o'clock as the Purple Aces come in to Des Moines to face off the Bulldogs in the Knapp Center. We'll preview that game, kind of talk about the hype around this team, the momentum this team seems to be building, and then we'll dive into our Missouri Valley Conference standings as we do each and every Wednesday, both on the men and women's side. And then wrap up with some discussion about some national college basketball news. I mean, some really exciting games this weekend, games that already happened, earlier this week with Monday, Duke just absolutely destroying Louisville at home. You had a great game between Arizona and BYU. And then, of course, Tuesday with Nebraska and Michigan in a top 5 battle. So we'll talk about some of that too to finish up today's show. But let's jump right into it, starting with the game that we will be covering live tonight with the Evansville Purple Aces taking on the Drake Bulldogs. And you have this Drake team right now trying to build upon this momentum and do something this team, Coach Henderson, hasn't done in Des Moines yet this season. And that's go on a true winning streak. They've won 2 games in a row twice now this season. Once right near Thanksgiving, and then they did it earlier in the year as well. but they've never won a third consecutive game. That's what's at stake tonight in the Knapp Center. Drake, a team that has just had some great highs and some very depressing lows, starting to get more gelled, starting to figure out this team and starting to figure out how they can compete with some top contenders. They took down Murray State, who was undefeated in the Knapp Center last week, of course. They respond great with a strong performance on the road against a Indiana State team that can give Drake headaches. They have the talent. They have the shooters. I mean, Drake only won by a single point the first time these two teams met earlier this season. They go out, they win that game, and look very, very strong in Terre Haute. And so now you're going up against a bottom tier team, and that's Evansville, a team that has just absolutely struggled this season. And it's a tough, Evansville would be a really tough place to recruit. I mean, to be honest, like you think all these mid-majors with NIL transfer portal would be tough. I mean, Drake fans, we know it. It would lose our coach and our entire staff and roster basically every year. I think it'd be really tough for Evansville. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen Evansville a contender or even in the middle of the pack, to be honest. And this is an Evansville team that, had an okay season last year and still was a bottom quad team in the Missouri Valley. Drake, on the other hand, a team that, again, not the start anyone wanted and have had kind of the valleys of great highs and some really bad lows this season, starting to build upon these two previous wins. And it all starts with the guard position, because earlier on Monday, it was announced that Jalen Quinn, the leader of this Drake team, one of the few seniors on this Drake team, earned MVC Player of the Week honors, averaging 31 points per game. And just this whole team is showing great growth and development. Where I'm seeing it from Jalen Quinn is he's getting confident, and in a few close moments where I saw it in person at the Knapp Center against Murray State, something I have been hard on Jalen Quinn, because he's a leader, because you realize how important he is to the entire Henderson system. But we talk about his attitude, the mental aspect of the game. And there were times where I got a little concerned, that voice in the back of my head, watching him live against Murray State, where you go, this is going to affect his game. He's shaking his head, but then he would hustle. And you're starting to see him develop and grow in his own personal game. You're starting to see a lot of guys do that. We talked about Isaiah Carr and Owen Larson on Monday's show, and I'll still talk about those guys today as well, because especially Isaiah Carr is going to be a really key factor for tonight's game. But Owen Larson continues to really be that strong point guard. Hopefully we see a third straight game and we can really just start feeling comfortable with him being in that position. I think you feel confident with him in that position right now, but you still have, these have been a nice stretch of games for Owen Larson, but now it's just building upon him and seeing him grow and get healthier and more comfortable. After coming back from an ACL injury and missing as much as he did earlier this season. It's going to take time, but we're starting to see that true point guard come out of Owen Larson. And so not only are we seeing growth and development with the coaching staff, the roster, the players individually, we're seeing the hype start to rumble back into Des Moines. Not saying it's completely back, not saying this team's going to go on a run and play in the NCAA tournament by any means, but you're starting to see the building blocks of that positivity coming back, of, that win against Murray State. I think a lot of Drake fans felt really good about that, and it was the best win by far this season for the Drake Bulldogs. I think everyone also was on the same page of feeling a little nervous about going to Indiana State after that win because of how Drake had struggled to respond after victories and to build upon momentum and actually grow and develop 48 hours after a huge emotional win. They did that. And then you start to see on social media, like I do with teams that I'm not able to talk to and see in person every day, like I am with Drake. I always go to social media to kind of gather what are fans saying about this team. And sometimes I disagree. Like I remember Belmont fans being hard on Alexander early in the season. And I'm like, this dude wins 20 plus games every year. Let him, it's going to be just fine. And now Belmont's number one in the Missouri Valley right now, tied with Murray State. But you're starting to see that with the Drake Bulldog fans starting to talk about, I put out the tweet about Owen Larson and everyone was like, yeah, love it. Love seeing Owen Larson play like this. We've needed this from Larson. And then you have people who, in that small clip I posted on social media about Owen Larson, I don't talk about Isaiah Carr. I did on Monday's show, but you have people bringing it up after just watching that of like, hey, don't forget about Isaiah Carr. So the fans are noticing the growth and development, and you're just starting to feel that rumble back. And it could be really back if Drake can get a victory tonight, because the blurred lines we talked about on Monday with this Missouri Valley Conference, lots of opportunities for a lot of movement. Murray State looks beatable. I mean, I thought they were going to respond way better than they did against UNI. I mean, just absolutely, again, just could not shoot the ball and really struggled. And so UNI gets a huge victory against Murray State. And you have Belmont going on a nice little win streak. You have Bradley, who looks beatable. UIC is in the mix. But Drake right now, they're only 3 games back. Yes, Drake's only 3 games back from Murray State and Belmont. That's crazy to think about right now, isn't it? We are halfway through the Missouri Valley Conference season. Drake could pull something off. Not saying they will, but 3 games back, you look at that and go, okay, just keep growing, keep developing. I know people didn't like hearing Coach Henderson say that after losses, but now I think you're starting to, again, not completely, but you're starting to buy into that foundation. 3 games back, but it all starts tonight. Because, I said previewing the Drake women against Evansville last Friday, I was like, I'm making the mistake of I'm not even looking at this game. The Drake women should win. Focus on Murray State coming up on Sunday. That's one of the few rare cases where I actually overlook a team and to be frank, I disrespected Evansville. Well, Drake won that game, felt fine. I'm not feeling that confident tonight. For this Drake men's basketball team, can't overlook anyone. I mean, they've proven time and time again that there's inconsistencies within this team. Evansville, the last time these two teams played, I mean, it was a back and forth battle. It was a 1-point victory for the Drake Bulldogs. And we'll go more in depth about the X's and O's and the stats scouting Evansville here in just a bit, but just really can't overlook this game. I know you have Bradley coming up on Saturday, and it's so exciting to think about the opportunities that would lie ahead if you can put together a 3rd straight victory. Can't overlook Evansville. And what's nice about them struggling on the road, about, glass half full attitude, the nice thing about struggling on the road against Evansville earlier this season is they win some of that respect. Because when you scout Evansville, you see the 1-8 Missouri Valley Conference record. They've lost 2 straight. They've lost 10 of their last 11 games, 5 of which were by 10 or more points. That's really easy for a team who just took down Murray State at home, just beat Indiana State and looked confident and comfortable. It would be easy for a team that does struggle with the highs and lows to kind of look at that and go, all right, we got this. at home. Come on now. I can't. And I think this team won't because of Henderson, but also because they saw how Evansville played and gave them fits earlier in the season. They won respect no matter what the record looks like. So you had Drake, a team that the last time these two played, they didn't play great by any means and still won the game. That gives Bulldog fans some confidence. They really struggled, though, with Connor Turnbull. And Connor Turnbull is one of the best big men in the league in the Missouri Valley Conference. He is questionable. Connor Turnbull has suffered a knee injury. Don't know the extent. I mean, I have question marks all over this. What's nice this year, though, inside baseball, because I'm sure not all of you go to the Missouri Valley Conference website each week. But years, they wouldn't put out, injury notes before games. They started doing that this year, which is awesome. Like before every Missouri Valley Conference men's basketball game and women's game, you can check out kind of, all right, these are the players that are questionable. These are the players that are out, which is great. Seeing the injury report. He's still questionable as of right now. And you guys know we record these shows a day prior to them releasing. So as of Tuesday, Connor Turnbull is still questionable. But that's huge. Connor Turnbull being questionable for tonight's game is huge on multiple facets because not only is he a top 3 big man in the Missouri Valley Conference, I mean, he's up there with, you have Chase Walker and then Fred King as well with Murray State. But he's a top 15 scorer in the Valley. Last time these two teams played, really challenged this Henderson coach defense. Drake gave up a double-double to him, 20-plus points, 15-plus rebounds the last time out. But with him being questionable, and with this Evansville team struggling, losing 10 of their last 11 games, 5 of which by 10-plus, you have to take advantage of the star player. They're one of the best big men in the Valley being questionable, possibly not even playing. He hasn't played since January 4th for the Purple Aces. That is where Isaiah Carr comes in. Federico has really struggled. 5 or less in 5 of the last 6 games. Hasn't been terrific rebounding the basketball. Sometimes gets bullied in the paint defensively. We're seeing the opposite from Isaiah Carr. Someone who struggled with that earlier in the year, kind of struggled with not having great strength with his hands, not being physical in the paint. All of a sudden, this dude is Dikembe Mutombo. He's swatting everything, has 11 blocks in the last 6 games. Isaiah Carr has been fantastic, and it's wonderful to see his growth and development and just him finding that role coming off of the bench and becoming an X factor each and every time he steps onto the floor. And then you have Goodberry, who, the true freshman, his ceiling is still very high in my eyes. I don't know how you couldn't have a lot of confidence in him moving forward and improving with his age and his experience. But he just continues to impress me as well. So usually with this Drake team, we talk about the biggest key being the guards, being Jalen Quinn, who just won Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Week, averaging 31 points a game. Jashawn Thomas in the Valley scoring 16 points a game off of the bench. And you have Owen Larson, who's put up 19 plus in the last 2 games. Usually we talk about that backcourt. It's going to be on the front court tonight, whether Turnbull plays or not, because you have to take advantage if he's out, and then you have to really lock in defensively, because that is going to be the Purple Aces' number one threat if he does play. So really exciting matchup. Hopefully it's not as close and stressful as the first time these two teams played, but regardless, going to be a lot of fun and excited to cover this one. 6:00 at the Knapp Center. Media Row will be there, so as always, make sure to follow along on Twitter to chat with us during the game about, kind of just what you're seeing as we give our game updates. And then, of course, check out the post-game interviews with Coach Henderson as well. All right, it's Wednesday, so you guys know what that means. Time for our Missouri Valley Conference men and women's basketball standing updates. A lot of chaos on the men's side from a week ago. So you have Belmont right now because they have more wins overall. They are first in the Missouri Valley Conference, but they are tied with a conference record with the Murray State Racers, 8-2 conference record. They have Bradley sitting there right now at third with a 7-4 record. And then look at this. Talk about two different ways you react to being fourth in the Missouri Valley Conference right now. You have Illinois State, my preseason favorite to win it, a preseason favorite for a lot of people. A team that brought back so much. Chase Walker, best big man in the Valley. They're 6-4 in the conference right now, fourth place, and Redbird fans, you'd be sitting there going, what the hell's going on? We were supposed to be right now battling with Murray State and Belmont for that first spot. What? 6-4? What are we doing? Then you look at the team they're tied with, and they're like, 6-4, top 4, let's get it. And that's UIC. UIC, a team that is just scary good. And Drake fans saw it when Drake lost on the road a few weeks ago. This is a really talented UIC team, a team right now that can compete with anyone, despite not having great size really at any position. I mean, one of their guards is very, very small, and they can pop a three whenever they want, just have a fast and efficient offense and a crazy good defense too. I mean, that defense, it used to be you and I being the best defense in the Valley. I think it's now on the Flames. But you had a lot of movement, starting with the Racers, because you have the Racers who have lost 2 straight, losing to Drake and UNI. They may not want to come back to Iowa ever again. UIC, the team we were just talking about, they've won 6 straight. You have Belmont winning 5 straight. Just a lot of movement and, again, blurred lines where you can really see now that continuity between this conference. And it is a weird conversation to have where you can sit there and go, this is great basketball. It's a lot of fun to see teams just beat up on each other. Now, as a conference that you're trying to convince the NCAA, this should be more than just a one-bid conference. Probably isn't going to happen this year because of your top teams struggling against the bottom-tier teams. I mean, no offense to Henderson, no offense to the players. I'm a diehard Bulldog fan about to say this. Murray State shouldn't have lost to Drake. I mean, that was an upset. And it's one of those where down the road, if you're trying to get in as an at-large, you're not going to get in because of losses like that. And that is why the Missouri Valley, for years, we all know this. I mean, I'm not saying anything new to you fans. You get it. That's why the Missouri Valley has been a one-bid league for years. So a really fun, though, and exciting conference. Even if you just don't think about the whole one bid, it just focus on enjoying the basketball as much as you can, because this is a fun battle that we're seeing, and it's going to be a lot of fun this week. Some really key games to keep an eye on with all this craziness and chaos that's happening in the Valley. Wednesday night, you have Illinois State going on the road to play Murray State. Illinois State, like we said, a top 4 team in the Valley. Murray State just trying to get back on the winning side and stay in top contention with Belmont. And then Saturday. Saturday's an awesome day for just college basketball, but especially the Valley. You have Drake taking on Bradley, rivalry game. A lot of standing implications in that one. A revenge tour for this Drake team against a Braves team that embarrassed them a few weeks ago. That game on CBS Sports Network, so nationally televised. Right after that game at 5, you have Murray State on the road at Belmont. Nationally televised on Saturday. Can't wait to watch that one. That is going to be a barn burner. I mean, the two top-tier teams just going head-to-head at Belmont. Going to be a lot of fun. So those are your standing updates, as well as just kind of top games to look out for. Now moving on to the women's side of things, you have Murray State staying in first place despite losing to UNI. Almost got them. Pullman and that Drake Bulldog team played fantastic. Just a few things didn't go their way, and Murray State survived. So they still lead the Valley with an 8-1 overall. An 8-1 Valley record. Belmont right behind them with 7-1, and then you have a tie for third between UNI and Bradley at 6-3. And then it doesn't feel like as chaotic as the men, but you do see that continuity at moments. I mean, look at Drake almost beat Murray State at home a few days ago. So you can see those teams kind of battle each other, but not as much that like we do with the men. But so far, it's been a struggle for all these teams. I mean, no one has a longer win streak than 2 games right now. Then you have Valpo right now that's just absolutely, but 0-20, just right there in the bottom of the league. Just tough to watch. And they gave Drake, they made Drake work for it. And you just feel like one of these games they have to win, but it is hard right now in Valpo. Some top games, though, to keep an eye on. Man, Saturday's just a fun one. You have Murray State at Belmont for both the men and women, the 2 top teams in both Valley conferences. Teams are 3-3 in their last 6 between Belmont and Murray State. It's just going to be a barn burner. Lots of fun happening in the Valley. Can't wait to cover it all this weekend. But before we get to the end of the show, I told you guys I wanted to talk about some national news. So let's stick with college basketball, because last night, one of the best games I've watched this season. In Ann Arbor, you have undefeated Nebraska, number 5 in the country, taking on number 3 Michigan. Awesome. Barn burner. I mean, both teams shot lights out in the first half. Second half, both teams come out with great defensive intensity, make incredible adjustments, especially on the Wolverine sides. But Michigan gets it done, despite only leading for like 2 minutes. I mean, they had a lead 3-2 early on in the game, and then they didn't get it back until I want to say like a minute 4 left in the game, somewhere around that. And they show that graphic of how long each team has had the lead, and Nebraska had it basically for the whole game. I don't even know at that point the graphic popped up if Michigan had it for an entire minute. But an incredible game. Michigan is a Final Four caliber team, is a national championship contender. I mean, before they even lost a game, I was sitting there wondering how you beat this team. I mean, Michigan's just loaded with size. They're not like Florida, who has great size, but awful guard play. They have tremendous guards, good coaching. I mean, this team, it's a very dangerous team. It's going to be very few teams to beat them. I did think Nebraska was going to pull it off. And that's where I want to spend most of this conversation. I know we're in Iowa. You're supposed to hate Nebraska. This is a really fun team to watch. I've enjoyed watching Nebraska a lot. I know. It's blasphemy to say that. And the thing with Nebraska is I keep trying to not fall for the hype. I keep trying to say, oh, we'll wait and see. Even though they beat Michigan State, who I love, I think is a tremendous team. They beat Illinois, who is up there with Nebraska as one of my favorite teams to watch this season. They are proven. Then they go out and have this performance. I know they lost. A loss sometimes, though, can be good for a team. Because then it we talked about it with Iowa State when they lost their first game of the year. Where you go, okay, now you're back to earth. Now you know you're not invincible. I keep trying to lessen the hype with Nebraska. This team is stacked. They almost beat Michigan, the number 3 team in the country, on the road last night without 2 starters. Yeah, that's how crazy. They're stacked. Samford is unbelievable. Has like 70 plus points in the last 3 games combined. And this team isn't a typical Fred Hoiberg coach team. The offense is incredible. They can fire threes at will. I mean, they had 10 threes in the first half. That's Hoiberg basketball. But what we've seen, from covering Cyclone days and just watching him as a coach, the defense usually lacks. Nebraska has a good defense too. So when I'm trying to lessen the hype of this team, I'm like, well, just wait until they have a cold streak. They had multiple cold streaks against Michigan and forced Michigan at the same time to go through cold spells and turnover issues. I mean, every time it felt like Nebraska would go a couple of minutes without scoring, a graphic would pop up and say like Michigan 0 for 10 in the last 3 minutes. This team is stacked. And it reminds me so much of that 2018-19 Auburn team that went to the Final Four, where if they get hot and they don't even have to really hit 23s, they just need to get into a little bit of a rhythm, and that juice within the entire team just gets infected, where everyone moves the ball efficiently, everyone gets excited, everyone's playing smart. They remind me so much of that Auburn team that just hit fire, where they were going to make you work for everything, and they were just going to take 33s a game. This does not seem like a Nebraska team that is just going to get to the NCAA tournament and win one NCAA tournament for game for the first time in school history. This is a team destined for success. I'm saying Nebraska right now is a Sweet 16 team coming off of this loss. And it's because they're going to follow suit with the other Big Ten teams that have had these hot starts. They showed this in the game. The last 2 Big Ten teams to start 20-0. Ohio State went to the Final Four. Illinois went to the Sweet 16. I'm going to put my money on Nebraska going to the Sweet 16. And what an incredible turnaround. And it shouldn't shock us. I mean, think about the year we're having. We have 2 teams in the Super Bowl right now that betting odds showed that there was no shot. A team that had 4 wins a year ago in the Super Bowl. You have the Seahawks, who just were rebuilding a second-year head coach. They're in the Super Bowl. Oh, and then don't forget, Indiana football just won the National College Football Championship. I think Nebraska is a team of destiny, and I don't think they just win their programs first. I think they go to the Sweet 16, if not further. They have that possibility of Elite 8. That's where I don't feel as confident. But very exciting game. I mean, you're going to see Michigan and Nebraska 2 more times. You're not just going to see them one more with, playing at Nebraska. You're going to see this team in March in the Big Ten tournament. I have a feeling. So a lot of awesome college basketball just nationwide that we will talk about. I mean, Arizona staying unbeaten. You have Miami, Ohio staying unbeaten. Those are the only 2 left now with Nebraska knocked out. You have amazing games this weekend with BYU, Kansas that we'll probably talk about on Friday. But before we get to the end of the show, something that just popped up as we're recording. The NFL has made a complete joke of itself and has disrespected one of the greats of the game. Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer is absolutely insane. He has won 8 total Super Bowls, 6 as a head coach, of course, with New England, which is an NFL record tied with the Steelers. 12 Super Bowl appearances. That's a NFL record, second all-time in career wins, 31 playoff wins, that's an NFL record, 17 divisional championships, that's also an NFL record. And I don't want to hear the voters, didn't put him in as a first ballot Hall of Famer because of the scandals. I don't want to hear that at all. You know why? Because Tom Brady is a part of those scandals too. And does anyone bat an eye? No. And should they? No. Because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter when it comes down to it. Was this guy a Hall of Fame legendary coach that changed the game? Yes. Does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame in his how you look at that name as a voter and you don't? Check yes. You deserve to have to go up in front of a podium and make a case as to why. Explain it. And to be honest, stripped away from your NFL Hall of Fame voting rights moving forward. It's a complete joke. Like the MLB has made their Hall of Fame a joke. And the MLB is on a little different because, they're not even including guys. You have the feeling the NFL is going to include Bill Belichick, especially with the backlash I think they're going to face. When you Google what it means to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, this is what it comes up with. Reserved for those considered a revolutionary figure. If that's not Bill Belichick to a T, then I don't know what is. Complete joke. Absolutely insane. And I'm not even a Patriots fan. I don't even care about the Patriots. And here we are. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. Wasn't expecting to end the show with that, but as we were recording, it popped up on my phone. Started looking at, ESPN and CBS reporting it. And that's crazy. I don't know how you make a case that he shouldn't be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But here we are. Crazy times. Crazy times. But that will do it for today's show. A huge thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in. Make sure to give us a subscribe, like, comment, rate, all that good stuff. And then we will see you Friday for a brand new edition of the Media Row podcast.